Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. Just a quick reminder that I do giveaways every single week, so if you're interested and want to enter, stay tuned until later in the video and I'll tell you exactly how to. Today we have some malicious compliance stories and our first story of the day is by NoGoodDM, Hair Too Long for Dress Code. A few years ago, I was a department manager for a large conference center. I ran the top performing department, as determined by guest feedback surveys by a large margin. Like, no other department out of 1,200 employees was even close. And my dress style was always nice and professional. Dress code didn't say we needed to have on button-up shirts and ties, but I did it anyway because I looked great and professional. And I met with leaders of large conferences multiple times per day. I dressed to impress. They were my clients and whatever their problem was, I was going to fix it. My demeanor and professional attire did great things to alleviate their concerns. My bosses got on a dress code kick for some reason. They made me and my small department, 6 people total, start wearing lame, colorful, standardized shirts with a logo on front. The rationale was that the client should be able to identify me as a staff member. I get the logic, but that was what my lanyard and name badge were for. Plus, the bright and colorful dress code shirt was actually detrimental to my work, as I often worked backstage as a tech during band performances. Industry standard color for techs is black, but they wanted me to wear bright yellow. Okay. I tell them my concerns for my shirt's bright colors being a distraction for the audience as I do work backstage. My bosses don't care. They made up a new dress code and want me to follow it. Fine. So I wear the shirt. But then I also wear a nice sweater vest, or just a vest on top of it. Still got my tie on. I like ties. But to make it explicitly clear I'm staff, I get my own hat made, at my own expense too, that shows the company's name on it. Again, my badge and lanyard are always visible, but now I can do my backstage work without being a distraction to the audience that might glimpse at my movement as I go about doing scene changes, etc. But then my bosses tell me that the company's logo has to be visible on my shirt and therefore I can't wear a vest. So then I get the company's logo embroidered on my shirt sleeve, also at personal expense. Problem solved, right? I'm wearing the shirt they gave me and the company's logo is visible. At this point, my boss is pissed at me and is trying to write me up for any possible infringement of company policies. I know how to read a room and I immediately start going to the HR director to approve of my new and evolving malicious compliances of this ever-changing dress code policy. My boss says that we can't wear hats. Okay, fine, my hair is visible for all to see. And I quickly become aware of the next thing my bosses are going to tell me to fix: my hair. They're going to cite some vague language in the employee handbook about hair length. So I go to the HR director preemptively and ask for clarification for hair length. After a 10-minute conversation, we both agree that I am perfectly fine with nothing to worry about. My hair is in a bun and looks good. It's well kept and stylish, and my specific clientele actually really like it because they're mostly hipsters anyway. But my bosses don't see it that way. They say that my hair is too long and needs to be cut. I ask them how long is too long. I am, after all, a rule follower and will obey the rules. One of my bosses, a woman with long hair that is actually against dress code because it's not put up into a bun, says that my hair should be less than shoulder length. My hair was in a man bun. I ask her if that policy extends to women as well. She says no, obviously, that this dress code only applies to men. Apologetically and feigning ignorance, I ask her to show me where it says that in the employee handbook. She shows me the section where it says that if the hair is longer than shoulder length, regardless the gender, it should be kept in a bun. I tell her that my hair is in a bun as opposed to hers. Oh man, now it's getting real. I just called them out. They're not happy. My other boss, a guy with super short hair, less than 1/4 of an inch long, tells me that as a guy, my hair shouldn't touch my shirt's collar. He tells me that a few stray hairs of mine are touching my collar. I pull out my phone and take a picture of him. I show him that even his 1/4 of an inch hair is touching the collar. His head was leaned back and his hair was touching the collar. I ask them again to clarify how long is too long, because this 1/4 of an inch hair is too long for their standards. Side note, I love my thick hair. Someone telling me to cut it arbitrarily speaks fighting words. Then they tell me that I just need to do what I'm told because it's company policy, and if I don't do it, they'll get HR involved. I tell them I already got HR involved, and the HR director explicitly told me that my hair was perfectly fine. But these two bosses of mine just wouldn't let it go. They had to go after my hair. They told me that since I'm a manager and meet with group leaders, I have to go above and beyond what the dress code says, and I have to act professional in order for us to receive good guest feedback regarding professionalism. I tell them that me and my department are already the most professional and highest rated department according to guest feedback surveys. I take the printout of the survey results out from my bag because I anticipated my lack of professionalism was going to be questioned and had it printed in advance, and I show them the survey. They read it, toss the paper aside, and tell me to cut my hair or be written up. Fine. The next day, I come into work with a shaved head. They never told me to cut my hair again because I look far worse with no hair. Coincidentally, they also let me wear my hat again, but only because my shaved head was a sore sight. As a point of interest, when I resigned from my position a year later, I submitted to HR my 80-point paper why my two bosses caused me to leave the organization, how they stifled me and my department from doing legitimately good and quality work, and how I felt that under their leadership, I was incapable of ever winning. A month after I left, I heard from a friend and previous coworker who was still at the company that my direct boss was forced to retire, and my other boss was fired. My friend told me that they were privy to a conversation held between the CEO and my female boss, the one who was fired. And my friend overheard the CEO say, "Your time here at this company is over. And I want you to know that when you're gone, your position will not be filled. Consider you and your position eliminated." Lastly, I haven't cut my hair since I left, apart from occasional trims. It's now almost 3 feet long, and I plan on giving my gorgeous lion's mane away to some charity that deals with making wigs for kids. Okay, possibly contentious question here. Is it acceptable in a job that requires professionalism for a guy to have long hair, either loosely or in a man bun? So in a professional setting, let me know if you think that would be okay or not and why in the comments down below. Our next story is by Ratsincorduroy. Proved to my manager that it's better to warn customers of closing time. I used to work at a store that was open until 2 a.m. every night of the week. So as you can imagine, when 2 a.m. rolled around, I was always ready to get out of there. Around 1:45 a.m., I would walk around and let each customer know individually that the store was closing in 15 minutes and ask them if they needed help finding anything before then. I did this for about 4 months working there and never had a problem, other than the occasional super rude customer who would completely ignore me and keep shopping until like 2:30 to 3 or whatever. Or occasionally, especially on weekends, drunk people would come in after 2 a.m. and just ignore that we were closed because we weren't allowed to lock the door or turn anyone away. Usually I was alone by 1:45 since business really slows down, but one night my manager was still there. When she saw me go and tell customers the store was closing in 15 minutes, she was pissed. She told me I could never tell a customer the store was closing. She said it was incredibly rude and put too much pressure on them. Fast forward to a few weeks later, I have still been giving customers a 15-minute heads up because, frankly, I don't think it's rude to tell someone your store is about to close, especially at 2 a.m. Here is when I see my opportunity. A woman had come in around 12 a.m. She seemed pretty out of it and was wandering around the store aimlessly this whole time, but occasionally bringing something to the counter, asking me to hold it, then coming back and asking me to put it back because she changed her mind. I had the feeling she could spend all night wandering around the store, so I decided that this would be the one customer I wouldn't warn about closing. 2 a.m. rolls around and I say nothing, and I proceed to say nothing all the way until 4:45 a.m. when she finally leaves the store. I literally got a call at 8 a.m. the next day from my manager furious that I had closed the store at almost 5 a.m. I innocently told her that the woman was still busy shopping the whole time, and I remind her that it's extremely rude to tell a customer that the store is closed. The next night when I went in for my shift, they had made the 15-minute warning a universal rule. We were all supposed to warn the customers the store was closing. Plus, we were supposed to turn people away if they showed up after 2 a.m. Score! Afterward, I admitted to my other coworkers I had done it intentionally to show management how dumb their decision was, and I'm glad I did it because we never had to let another drunk teenager into the store after 2 a.m. again. Is it really rude to warn a customer that, hey, in 15 minutes the store hours are over and we're gonna close down? I think that's common courtesy, not rude. Yeah, it puts pressure on the customer, but they're there at closing. As a provider of the services, that's not your problem. This next story is by Global Warmer 12. The contract says you have to paint the walls before leaving. My parents had a loud argument about public spaces in a residential meeting with their landlord. He lived in and owned 5 apartments in that building. The landlord later made some excuse to terminate the contract and made a power play to make my parents repaint the apartment before leaving. My dad got pissed off and my mom got clever, so she thought the contract doesn't say which color. And the entire apartment was painted pitch black, ceilings and all. I remember sitting there as a kid, not really understanding what was going on, but I have to say it was really cool to be there with just one light on that final night as we were clearing out. I don't know much about the fallout, but that day they showed my brother and me how to properly give a one final freak you to a person. To some people, that kind of paint job might be a perk. Somebody might actually be really thrilled to have an all-black apartment like that. You never know, there might be a commodity for it. They might have done the landlord a favor. Just looking at the bright side. This next story is by CallMeTank. Don't use frosting on the desserts? Yes, sir. This is my father's story from many moons ago. My dad, who we'll call Fred, was a sheriff's deputy at our county jail. His job was primarily to cook meals for the inmates and on-duty officers, which is really what he loved to be doing. He enjoyed finding what was in the kitchen and making it really good. The inmates all knew his schedule and looked forward to him being in the kitchen because they knew it would be better than your average school lunch. One day, my dad was working on dinner and he made Rice Krispie treats for dessert. He found a thing of frosting on the shelf and put the frosting on top of the Rice Krispie treats. Couldn't hurt to put more sugar on them, right? As he was finishing up and getting ready to serve the meal, the sheriff walked into the kitchen to pick up his food. The sheriff, your classic macho law enforcement buffoon, looks at the Rice Krispie treats and looks at my dad. Are these for dessert? Yep, I found some frosting on the shelf, decided to improve on the recipe. Those locked up idiots don't need frosting on their Rice Krispie treats, Fred. Next time, don't put frosting on their dessert. Yes, sir, Dad said. The next time he was making dinner, Dad made Rice Krispie treats again. He had liked his previous version and decided to keep improving on the recipe. So he put the frosting in the Rice Krispies, mixed it right in with the marshmallows and the cereal. He hand-delivered the sheriff his meal that evening. Let me know what you think of those Rice Krispies this time, boss. Those look good, Fred. Thanks. He has since improved on this recipe so much that he gets requests to make them for weddings he's invited to. Necessity is the mother of invention. Those dang Rice Krispie treats are responsible for the expansion of my waistline. This isn't a malicious compliance, this is a delicious compliance. I would love to get my hands on some of those Rice Krispie treats, I'll tell you what. So quickly now, I want to explain just how to enter the giveaway. All you need to do is leave a comment on this video relevant to something you saw or heard or liked in any story in that video. That's it, you're entered, but it applies to every single video we upload this week. So to get the best odds at winning the $30 Amazon gift card giveaway, you'll want to leave a comment relating to any of those videos all week long. On Sunday, after the last video has gone out, I'll pick one comment at random and let you know on the following Monday who has won, and then it starts all over again. So make sure you leave a relevant comment on this video and additionally every video I upload this week for the absolute best chance to win. And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and give the videos a like too, because it helps more than you could imagine. And our final story of the day is by WasLone21. force high schoolers to sing at graduation, but let them pick the song. We were the first ever high school graduating class at the district's flagship school, a new K-12 academic magnet school. This was a public school for gifted students, actually named after the district superintendent himself. Now, this school had a penchant for trying a little too hard to emulate an elite private school with strict dress codes, fancy educational philosophies, required sports, you know the type. As the commencement of the first graduating class approached, the school administration wanted to make sure our graduation ceremony was extra special. They wished to add even more pomp to the circumstance. Some higher up had the idea to have the seniors sing a song at graduation, choir style. Out of 60 nerds, probably only 15 could carry a tune. But, well, it wasn't my idea. The senior class was less than enthused and balked heavily when we were told we were required to sing, which the administration had predicted. The deal was this: we were allowed to pick the song. Cue malicious compliance. A nomination and voting process was held later that week. A few predictable, even halfway decent songs were nominated. Vitamin C's Graduation and John Lennon's Imagine both seemed promising. Then, one of us nominated Be a Man from Disney's Mulan. We thought this especially clever considering the academic gauntlet our school fancied itself to be. As I'm sure you predicted, Be a Man won in a landslide. To our merciless glee, we were going to be singing about being a spineless, pale, pathetic lot, as swift as a coursing river, and defeating the Huns in front of our grandparents, the mayor, a few state senators, and our school's illustrious namesake himself. The administration realized they had been beaten. Alas, the chorus was quickly and quietly scrapped. We never got to see the town's faces staring back at us in confusion as we proclaimed how important it was to be mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Not gonna lie, I kinda wanted to sing that last sentence there, but I wanted to spare everybody from the cringe moment, so I won't. That being said, it would be a oddly really memorable experience to have Be a Man be a class sing-a-thon graduation thing. It would be weird, but it would be kind of really cool. Is that just me? But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which one and why in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss an upcoming video from the Storytime channel. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, so no matter what you did, thank you for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time right here.